Viewmasters. It's the podcast that we do. Viewmasters. Talk about movies that we view. Viewmasters. My friend Eric and me, Joe. Viewmasters. Hey, let's start the show.
Hey, welcome to the Viewmasters. Episode 201. American Werewolf in London. My name is Eric.
My name is Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Eric. How are you?
I'm well.
Excellent.
So this is the first new episode of Viewmasters in a little over 3 years.
I was going to ask how long it's been. It feels like it's been forever.
Yeah. While I was trying to get things set up, I recently did some overhaul of all the websites I own. And I saw that we recorded the last episode of Viewmasters in towards the end of December 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. It really kind of got away from us.
It really did. Well, you know, you left.
I did leave.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
that's on me.
Mostly your fault.
I accept full responsibility for the long hiatus for the Viewmasters.
It's also partly my fault. We could have figured this whole thing out back then, but I have issues as well. So
we've got things going on. We've got irons and fires.
Sure.
We're busy people.
That we are. But yeah, I'm set up in Gutter Trash Headquarters 2.0 now. And you're somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I'm in the West Coast office of Gutter Trash Incorporated.
You guys aren't doing a lot out there.
No, I know. We're just getting set up.
Okay,
you know, it's we're gonna start small and see how it goes.
All right, that's fair.
Very low budget, so
yeah. So yeah, I want to get into it.
Absolutely, yeah. American Werewolf in London.
Yes, written and directed by John Landis, 1981, and spoiler, quite possibly in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I did not know that when I picked this.
Well, partially you picked it because I loaned it to you before you moved.
That's true. Yeah, I have had your burned DVD copy of it in my possession for a long time.
All right. Well, I was unaware that had happened.
I should never have said anything.
It's okay. It forced me to go out and buy a $50 copy of the Blu-ray.
Again, I don't think it really forced you to spend that much on it.
No, that was all just poor decision making on my part.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna go out for a movie that's in your top 10, you might as well get the best version of it possible, which I assume is what you got.
Yes, that's it's the super limited edition version, and came with like a 60-page book and a poster, and like some postcard looking things, which cannot be mailed out, but why would I anyway?
Right, yeah. You frame those.
Exactly. I am framing the poster at some point, but it's a double-sided poster, and I can't decide which side of it I prefer.
Interesting. Is it the movie poster, or is it just images from the movie?
So it's the Blu-ray comes from Arrow Video.
Okay.
And they're one of those like Shout Factory, Criterion kind of things where they do like special, like custom made covers for like whatever their release is.
Okay.
And so one side of the poster is basically just, the cover art's reproduced for that. And then the other side is, it's no poster I've ever seen for the movie. But, it says it's, production or reproduction of one of the original movie posters. And it's very stark and simple and almost like a Saul Bass kind of poster.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. But, so is the cover art, which is very Drew Struzan-like, one of those sort of Indiana Jones type collages with just a bunch of stuff from the movie in it. They're both very cool, but I think I'm leaning towards the minimalist poster.
Yeah, I don't know, I obviously don't know what they look like, but I feel like I tend to lean minimalist as well with my wall art. So
right.
if it's not like comic book art or something.
Sure.
So yeah, no, that sounds cool though.
Yeah, I will show you a picture of those after we're done recording.
Excellent.
Listener, tough luck. Google
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking. So you've obviously seen this movie a lot.
Yes.
I would assume.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen it, so that's kind of fun.
Sure.
What do you think it holds up? I would assume that you do.
I do actually.
Yeah.
I had forgotten quite a bit of, some of the events in the movie for sure. Due to it has been more than a few years since I last saw it, and my memory is definitely not as good as it used to be, and it was never very good in the beginning. So there are whole scenes of this thing that I just forgot that happens in this movie.
All right. So it's like watching it for the first time.
Somewhat. I definitely remembered some of the key moments for sure, which I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, I thought it really does hold up very well. It's a little slower paced than I remembered it being. It takes... there's some minor werewolf action right up front, but then after that, it's about an hour into the movie before things really get going.
Yeah.
And it's only about an hour and a half long movie.
Yeah, it's 97 minutes, I think I looked it up. But yeah, no, I agree about the pacing. I actually really liked that about it. The first attack that we see is relatively quick, and it's just sort of flashes of imagery. We get it from the perspective of David, who's sort of the main character of the movie, and I thought it was legitimately a scary scene, the first little bit of werewolf action that we see. But then yeah, you're right, it's a while before we see any more, and I thought that worked really well.
Yeah, I agree too. I think also that the beginning of the movie also, even though that initial werewolf attack happens pretty early on, it also still sets up the characters of David and Jack really well, and enough to give them enough character and personality, and makes you really feel for them, for when, spoiler, Jack dies.
Yeah, that's a fairly large spoiler. Don't worry, he comes back. Sort of. It's a nearly 40-year-old movie at this point, so... It's true. We can talk openly about it, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Though for it being as old as it is, I knew remarkably little about it before sitting down to watch it.
That's pretty cool, honestly.
Yeah, like there were points where, because there is such a long time between the attack and when David transforms, and even after he transforms, where I questioned whether is there actually a werewolf? I wasn't sure, because for a while it seems like he's the only person that sees it, or is there when he becomes a werewolf.
Sure.
So it was almost right up towards the end of the movie that I wondered if is this actually a werewolf movie or is he just insane? I really liked that.
That's, I maybe it's because I saw it at such a young age that, it's like that perspective of it never occurred to me.
Yeah.
It did occur to me this time around, though, to wonder about Jack and whether is he indeed part of this curse of the werewolf thing, or is he just a hallucination of David's as he's losing his mind?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a big part of what made me question the werewolf aspect of it. I mean, between that and David's freaky nightmares,
Right.
running naked through the forest, and then his whole family being gunned down by people in monster masks.
Sure.
Like, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, he's definitely going crazy as the movie goes on. It was just I was very interested in what degree is he actually crazy and how much of what's happening is actually real.
Right. And just to go back a second, just to clarify, his family is mauled by Nazis in monster masks.
Are they Nazis? I totally missed that part.
Oh yes, they are 100% supposed to be Nazis. Yes.
Yikes.
Because part of the subtext of this is that David is Jewish.
Right.
I don't know if John Landis is or not, but he definitely was trying to at least have a very small aspect of that in the movie as well.
Okay. Yeah, I totally missed the Nazi part of the murdering gang.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
All right. It's a good thing we don't have to worry about Nazis anymore.
Nope. Taken care of.
They are all gone.
Yep.
So yeah, I was thinking, and I feel like this is the first straight werewolf movie that I've ever seen.
Okay.
I saw an Underworld movie once.
Oh boy.
But I don't think that counts.
No. Let's say not.
Okay. And there are werewolves in Buffy, the TV show, not the movie.
Sure.
But I feel like as far as, and I guess it's a monster. It's treated as a monstrous thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also sort of just, there's the recurring character that Seth Green plays is a werewolf, and it's just sort of a thing he has to deal with.
Right.
It's not as terrifying as it is in this movie.
Sure.
So yeah, as being relatively unversed in having seen werewolf stuff before, I feel like this was a pretty good introduction to the lore of it and
right.
Just the general feel of what a werewolf movie is like. I don't know if other werewolf movies are like this, but I feel like this is a good representative, probably. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I have to ask if you've never seen Teen Wolf or Teen Wolf 2.
Oh, God, all right. I have seen Teen Wolf. All right. But it was, at no point does David play basketball or surf on top of a car.
No, but maybe he should have.
He did. That would have been a twist, that's for sure.
So So this movie came out in 1981, and another movie that came out the same year was called The Howling, which was a Joe Dante werewolf movie.
Okay, I feel like I've heard of that.
I don't know which of these came out first, but both of them sort of combined, revolutionized the idea of what a werewolf movie could be.
Okay.
Up until this point, most werewolf movies were just sort of in the Lon Chaney mold of, bipedal dude who gets, hairy and has fangs.
Yeah.
Rather than gruelingly transforming into a monstrous beast.
Yeah.
I want to say that the Howling werewolves are still a little more, bipedal, but they are the sort of that hulking, lurched over, almost like, just dogs that can stand.
Yeah. So, yeah, because David sort of looks like that when he's, not quite finished with his transformation.
Yeah.
So I imagine it sort of looks something like that, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah. Whereas in this one, once he does fully transform, he is just a monstrous giant wolf.
Yeah.
Running on 4 legs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing with this movie is that I think it's one of the very first movies that ever fully showed a werewolf transformation on screen.
I was gonna ask. Yeah, it seems like probably before this movie, I would imagine they didn't have quite the technology to do something like that.
Yeah, prior to this, it was just sort of, time-lapsed photography, as an actor slowly gets, hair glued to their face.
Right.
Whereas this one, they built, puppet heads and arms and hands and, lots of, weird, gross tricks that they did on camera. That, they had never done before.
Yeah, as I was watching it's a really impressive sequence because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And to consider, it was pre-CG, so that was all practical effects is really cool.
Man, there's just nothing better than practical effects sometimes.
Absolutely. Like, some of it earlier on when, like, during the first attack, you can sort of tell it's just like a guy in a suit or whatever.
Right.
But you can tell, like, it seems like Landis saved most of the budget maybe for that transformation, and it paid off because that's an awesome sequence.
Agreed. So I had the luxury of watching the movie and then rewatching it with the commentary track.
Ooh.
Which featured actors David Naughton and Griffin Dunn.
Nice.
Which it was a fine commentary track. They both tend to just get lost and start just watching the movie and forget that they're supposed to be talking.
That's the best. I kind of like those. Like you're just hanging out with them watching the movie.
Yeah. But they were talking about the transformation scene, which it really is the centerpiece of this whole movie. But that took 6 days to film.
Wow.
Yeah. And other than, parts where clearly it's not David Naughton there on set, like it's just, some sort of, puppet head that's being stretched and pulled or whatever. He said, for the most part, he was just the most uncomfortable he had ever been in his life at that point.
Did it take that long? Did he say because it was just so complicated to do, or was John Landis just being a perfectionist, or did he say why it took so long?
Mostly it was just so complicated. Like, there are scenes in the transformation where he is like growing hair, and they had to basically individually glue hair to his body.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then he said the scene where, like, mid-transformation, he sort of flips over on his back.
Yeah.
He said, like, basically he was buried underneath the floor for just, like, 5 hours at a time with just his head and arms sticking out.
I actually thought, like, that was the only part that didn't look like super perfect to me, and I wondered if he was just like, it was just his head sticking up out of the floor and the rest of it was a puppet body.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
really
much.
cool though.
Yeah,
it still looked awesome, but
yeah,
could sort of tell at that point.
Yeah, I 100% would much rather see a noticeable puppet body than just a bad cartoon.
Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, it really is very impressive, to watch. Again, even now, after having seen this movie 100 times or whatever, like it really caused me some anxiety to watch it.
Yeah, it's stressful. Like, it seems like, because he's just sitting there reading and then he just starts freaking out.
Yep.
Like, seemingly out of nowhere.
Which, it's I like that take on the whole transform into a werewolf thing. That it just would be super painful and just excruciating to deal with.
Yeah.
And even in the second lesser transformation scene, like, there's like at least one new element that they show in that where like his claws rip through his fingers.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yes.
I did not like that.
Yeah, I have a real aversion to fingernail and eyeball trauma in movies.
Definitely. Same here.
Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Oh, right. So yeah, I get. Do you want to go back to the beginning, or just like I took some notes while we were watching it, just things that I liked and things that I like. It was funnier than I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. Like, it's definitely not a comedy, but it definitely had elements that made me laugh out loud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the first time I saw this as a kid, I did not get any of the comedy aspects of it.
Right.
But as I've gotten older, and I definitely know this as a horror comedy. And I guess even at the time when it was made, like, even that aspect of it was still kind of unheard of as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, people thought that it was too horrific to be a comedy and too comedic to be a horror movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose horror comedies before that would probably have been like Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein or something like that.
Yeah, I think pretty much, or just something super goofy and less horrific. But when this movie gets horrific, it goes for it.
It really does.
Yeah, so we're introduced to David Naughton and Griffin Dunne in the beginning, and they're just two Americans touring through Europe, and they're in northern England, and they stop in at a pub, and things get weird.
The slaughtered lamb.
Yes.
That's not ominous at all. I really like that every time we visit the slaughtered lamb, everyone there is just a total asshole. Like, they're the least friendly people you'll ever meet.
Yeah. It reminds me of just my own personal experiences of why I don't particularly enjoy going to bars.
Everyone stop and stare at you and basically just give you curt answers and make you or pressure you into leaving.
I mean, that's my fear. Maybe
Yeah.
it's from this movie. I don't know, but that is my absolute fear when I'm like, oh, I got to go to a bar that I've never been to before. Like I'm gonna be the unwelcome guy at Cheers.
Aww.
So the only dumb bit of trivia I have for anything about the slaughtered lamb was that maybe he has one line, but Rick Mail of the Young Ones
Yeah.
is in that scene.
I saw his name in the credits and I was slightly taken aback. He's chess player number 2.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the joke that everybody has is that there's 12 actors in England, and
Right.
there's they're in everything. So I guess that was true back in 1981 as well.
I really thought that later in the movie when they're in the cab that the cab driver was Michael Palin. Like he just I don't think it was.
I don't believe it was.
Okay, but like the way that he talked and like you don't really get a good look at his face, but I could have sworn it was Michael Palin and I was very confused.
I 100% agree with you on that. Like, yeah, for an instant, I thought it was for him indeed. And the subway victim, I thought he was somebody too, but when I looked him up, I had no idea who he was. And
Yeah, he struck me as vaguely familiar too, but I don't know who I thought he would have been.
yeah, me neither. So yeah, yeah. Where do you want to go with this?
I'll just looking through my notes, I feel like the most unbelievable part of the movie is that David hooks up with his nurse.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
like their whole relationship felt a little forced.
Yeah, no, the part where he like declares that he loves her.
Yeah,
It's like you've known her for 3 days,
right? Yeah, and she's like, yeah, she does the same for him at the very end. And It's like, wow, you barely know this guy.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing was clearly written by a dude. Like the way that she acts towards him. Like she says, "I find you very attractive and a little bit sad." Like what?
Well, I mean, that's entirely possible to have that first impression.
Yeah, but that's
not enough to invite a stranger to live in your home.
Right. Yeah, I did enjoy her performance, the actress that played Alex. But
Jenny Agutter?
there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the the arc of the character was a little questionable to me.
No, I agree with you 100%. But I mean, there's so many movies that do that kind of thing, though. Like,
It's true.
Every action movie, Speed, for Christ's sakes,
Speed is perfect. How dare you?
I mean, it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. And so is American Werewolf in London.
That's true. Let's see. I liked that every time Jack appeared to David, that he's in a different state of decay. Like I just thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah.
Like and I feel like it got less gross as he decayed more. If that makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So another thing I learned in the commentary track was during his first appearance, when he basically has the most fresh wounds on his neck and face that there are.
Yeah, and he's still all bloody.
Yeah. When he I guess originally he was going to eat the toast, and then a piece of the toast was going to fall out of his neck, which may have been too much.
Yeah, that might have been.
Yeah,
might have been a bit much. It would have been cool to see how they would have done it, but yeah,
sure, yeah. I feel like that sort of, your dead zombie friend, who acts as your conscience. I feel like that sort of became a trope after this movie as well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen at least a couple of other horror movies where, horror comedies specifically, where that sort of was a thing. Oh, my best friend died, and now he's here with horrible wounds on his face and telling me to do stuff.
All right, I'll take your word for that.
Yeah. The one that I can think of directly offhand is your aforementioned Seth Green in Idle Hands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which is a movie I've only seen parts of on TV.
Yeah, I've never seen that, so I couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
There's a zombie hand, right? Is that one?
Sort of, yeah. I believe Seth Green has like a bottle shoved in his skull throughout most of his scenes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. From the 10 minutes I've seen of it, you're fine to not ever see it.
Don't pick it for the show, is what you're saying.
I mean, if you wanted to, I guess I'd watch it.
I'm not gonna pick it for the show.
Okay, I'm not either. I really liked Jack's character.
Yeah, to your point earlier, the relationship between David and Jack is really nice throughout the movie, even after Jack is dead.
Hey. I mean, you got to feel a little bit bad for Griffin Dunn. He's only in like 4 scenes in the entire movie, but
yeah, but he makes a pretty good impression.
Oh yeah, he does for sure. I feel like he said this was his first movie ever.
Oh wow.
And he said he didn't even audition. Basically, John Landis asked him, "Are you claustrophobic?" Because he would have to be encased in horrifying makeup for the majority of his role.
Oh yeah. All right. I was like, he's not in, like, they bury him, but they wouldn't have actually done that. So.
Yeah. They did have to make molds of his face and put him in heavy makeup. So
gotcha.
Except at the end when he's a puppet.
Right. I figured he was not actually there for that.
No, they actually skinned his face.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Movie magic.
That's... I mean, I know that John Landis has done some questionable things on movie sets, so wouldn't have put it past him. Like, that'll grow back, right?
Oh, I was expecting that to come up, but not in that fashion.
Yeah, I think this is... I don't know if I've seen any other John Landis movies, but that's the main thing that I know about him.
Yeah.
He's Max Landis' dad, which is bad enough, and then people died while they were making The Twilight Zone.
Yeah. Did you not ever see Animal House or The Blues Brothers?
Oh, I didn't know he did The Blues Brothers.
Oh yeah,
I have seen The Blues Brothers. I've never seen Animal House.
Okay, Animal House it's fun.
Yeah.
I'd say between those 2 movies and this, the man loves him some car crashes.
The car crash at the end is spectacular. It's really, really cool.
It really is.
There's just so many cars.
It's ridiculous in a very John Landis way.
Yeah, I know. It just keeps going with more cars and people flying through windshields and.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
John Landis has a cameo in that scene where he is one of the guys who gets thrown through a window.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he's had some unfortunate things that have marred his career.
Yeah.
like Max Landis.
That's the main thing, I think.
Well, the deaths of 2 children and a man are not great either.
It's true.
Yeah.
I shouldn't make light. You're right.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed this, but the scene when David tries to call his parents in America, he talks to his sister, Rachel, and also has to talk to his brother Max, both of which are John Landis's kids.
All right.
Max Landis and Rachel Landis.
Nice.
Which is weird because Max Landis was not born until 1985.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. So he must have had that name picked out for a boy for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or he just knew he liked it when he made the movie.
Yeah, it's possible. And that's the only good thing about Max Landis.
I don't hate Chronicle.
Chronicle is fine.
Yeah.
And, I really liked the Dirk Gently holistic detective series.
I haven't seen that.
It's fun. It's just too bad that it's, got a black mark on it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a movie that we watched called Mr. Right that has Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick, and I think Tim Roth and a few other people are in it, and it's just like Sam Rockwell's an assassin who falls in love with Anna Kendrick, and it's a romantic comedy thing, and we really enjoyed it. And then the credits rolled, and Max Landis wrote it, and I was angry.
I'm sorry. I feel like I have seen something else that I think it actually was Dirk Gently that I was watching, and then I saw his name at the in the credits, and I was like, "Oh."
But why?
Right.
So there's a lot of naughty stuff in this movie.
See you next Wednesday.
Yeah. So I don't know where to start with that, honestly.
Well,
extended sequence in the porn theater.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that See You Next Wednesday is the name of a fake movie that John Landis has put in almost every movie that he's ever made.
Okay.
And it's not always a porn. It just is in this movie.
Okay, all right.
And
is it always like Monty Python?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
I will say that I think one of the hardest that I laughed in the movie is during one of the porn scenes.
Yeah. Is it when the other guy walks in?
Yes.
Yeah, that part is hysterical. That was where I wrote down this is like a Monty Python sketch.
All right.
I noticed an ad for the porn theater in the subway when he was chasing that guy. So I liked that as it stuck out to me because it said something in big letters like a nonstop orgy or something. I was like, that's really weird to see during this tense chase scene. So I liked that it came back.
Yeah, it's a nice detail and it pays off.
I also saw an ad for Airplane.
Oh yeah,
in the subway, and then some ads for Wendy's.
Yeah, that was a little weird too.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but for some reason Wendy's doesn't seem like an international fast food restaurant to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe being from Ohio, we think of it as
ours.
Just sort of a local chain. But
right.
Yeah, we have it in Washington. There's a couple locations.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're everywhere, but just at least especially back in 1981, I would definitely think McDonald's would be more prevalent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right, good for Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course there's the the other naughty scene slightly earlier, just before the transformation.
Are you talking about The Naked Truth with Naughty Nina?
Yes.
What is that? Because it goes on for a long time, and it's just him sitting there watching it on TV. I was like, is this going to come back at some point? And it never did.
Nope. So I guess that was specifically made for the movie, but Naughty Nina was an actual person in the late 70s, early 80s in England.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all I got about that.
All right. Interesting.
Yep.
It's just like there are a few sort of random things that I feel like were just included in the movie for no apparent reason. Like, I guess that's the only one that's in the movie, but I also noted the congratulations to Princess Diana and Prince Charles at the end of the credits.
Yeah,
that's so weird.
It is super random. Yeah, I didn't. I even tried to look up why that was in there, and I could find no answers.
It's just topical for the time.
Yeah, I mean he does call Prince Charles a slur in the middle of the movie.
That's true. Maybe he did it because they filmed. Oh, I wonder if were they maybe filming in the UK when the wedding took place?
I believe they were.
Okay.
Because during the commentary they mentioned that they filmed basically from like March or January to March, and then the movie came out in August of 1981, and I think if they did not get married there, at least it was news that it was happening while they were there.
Okay. Well, that sort of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's still weird though. It's still super weird. It'd be like, it's weird.
It reminded me of the part that I always see on Twitter of the end of the Rambo movie where it thanks the brave Mujahideen soldiers. Like it's not quite the same, but it reminded me of that.
I see that. It's weird. I mean, if taking away the whole outcome of what happened with that wedding,
right?
It's just a weird thing that really dates that movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, for being 40 years ago, I feel it still holds up. Like, even with outdated technology and all that.
Yeah. I didn't feel like there was anything that particularly made me realize or consider the time period beyond just sort of the movie making aspects of it, like the practical effects and all that.
Right.
There's nothing about it that's like, oh, this movie screams, late 70s, early 80s kind of thing like that.
Yeah. Like even the fashions aren't, terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody's running around wearing giant bell bottoms or anything like that,
Yeah.
Like the weird, Marty McFly lifesaver vest, that's, it's still fine.
Yeah.
Like I would totally wear one of those vests.
Yeah, that didn't strike me as strange at all.
Yeah. And I mean, you just pointed out, other than the Princess Di thing, the ad for Airplane maybe is the only thing that really sets it, like, well, that and that there's just public porno theaters you could go to.
No, we have those here. It's fine.
Oh, you have them in Seattle?
Yeah, they're on every corner.
Oh, wow. Well, add another reason for me to visit there someday.
Yeah.
Because I just want to go jerk off in public.
I know, with a bunch of strangers?
Sure.
Yikes.
Speaking of that, I think...
Oh, God.
It's not bad.
Okay.
I think this was the first time viewing it for me that I correlated him like transforming in the back of the theater to people thinking that he would be jerking off in the theater.
Oh, yeah, I did really like that. Like, just the aggressive noises that he's making.
Right.
And the shots of the other theater goers.
Yeah. I don't know what else. What other notes did you take?
I thought that the music was often just completely out of place for what was happening on screen, which I enjoyed as well. Like, I feel like that added to the comedy elements of the horror comedy.
So you're talking about the fact that there's 3 different versions of Blue Moon?
Yes.
Okay.
that's part of it. Yeah, I mean every song that's recognizable has Moon in it somewhere.
Yeah. I think literally it's just 3 different versions of Blue Moon and Van Morrison's Moon Dance.
Yeah.
And then the only score in the movie is, I believe, during his dream sequences.
Yeah, I think you're right. Did it use Moon River? I feel like it used Moon River as well at one point, but I could be making that up.
If it did, I don't recall.
Okay.
With the commentary track, they mentioned that John Landis had reached out to Cat Stevens to try to get Moonshadow in the movie. Cat Stevens refused because he believes werewolves are real.
Wow. That is, I did not see that coming. I was like, oh, maybe he thinks werewolves or horror movies are satanic or something. Nope. That's amazing. Like, was he worried that it would offend them?
Possibly.
Like, I'm saving this for the actual documentary about them. Let me know when you're making that.
I think maybe the offending thing, but just worried that they would seek retribution.
That makes sense, actually. That does. Wow. Amazing.
Yep. Cat Stevens.
Yeah.
Great musician.
Yeah. And apparently a total lunatic.
Possibly. I don't know what his name is now. Yusef something?
Yusef Islam?
Maybe?
I think.
Sounds familiar.
From like the mid 2000s, right? Early
Yeah,
2000s?
Yeah. He converted to Muslim, to Islam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That has nothing to do with his craziness.
That does not. No. Just the belief in werewolves.
Yep.
I wonder if that extends to other mythical creatures like vampires and mummies.
Do you think he's maybe got kind of a Dalton Wilcox kind of thing going on?
It could be a monster hunter. Who knows? Has he been a poet laureate?
I mean, I would nominate him for being a poet laureate.
I might look into that, see if he's actually. Oh boy.
Yep. I mean, I distinctly remember Moonshadow, or not Moonshadow, Moon Dance.
Yeah.
From when I was a kid, possibly because there was, naked stuff happening during that scene.
Right.
And then also basically the last shot of the movie, her credits, that version of Blue Moon playing, which I feel like that's probably the most well-known version of that song.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And that version to play like immediately after, because the ending of the movie is very jarring.
Yes. And
then it goes into this very upbeat ba 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 ba, like that version of Blue Moon. was really like that made me laugh, and I was just like, what's happening right now?
Oh, the movie's over. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I know it was abrupt.
I kind of like how abrupt it is, actually, though.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Other than a couple of the things that you've brought up, that are very, I guess, more unrealistic. I was almost going to say problematic. I don't really feel like there was any super problematic stuff in this movie for being as old as it is.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way either.
But yeah, like just the whole relationship between David and Alex is just so forced and rushed.
Yeah.
But I definitely still keep this up in the top 10 of my all-time favorite movies for sure.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm not, I've traditionally not been a monster movie guy, and I don't know that this even really qualifies as a sort of a straight monster movie because of the comedy aspects. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching it. I would watch this again probably.
That's excellent to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Alex, I was gonna say something about how she's not really developed outside of her relationship with David, but then I remembered that we do get scenes with her elsewhere in the hospital, in like the children's ward.
Oh yeah.
And I remembered the kid who just says no over and over again.
Yep.
And how he's my favorite character in the movie.
I did want to know more about him.
I did too. I don't think he's going to tell us.
No. You only liked him because he was reading comics.
That's true. That made him instantly relatable to me.
What did you think about the kid who just came up and slapped her on the ass?
That was problematic. Did not care for that. That was Max Landis.
From the
you
future?
Can say he wasn't born yet. I disagree.
All right.
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad I picked this.
I'm glad you did too. One last bit of trivia for Jenny Agutter. Agutter? I don't know.
Yeah. A gutter?
Sure.
Who knows?
A gutter trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you recognize her from any other films or not.
I don't think so.
But she, I believe before this, she was the co-lead in Logan's Run.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she was also in Child's Play 2, unfortunately. But like ever since I saw this movie, like I've had a crush on that actress, forever.
Yeah.
And nothing brought me as much joy as seeing her in Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Who did she play in that?
So the lady that Black Widow is impersonating to infiltrate Robert Redford's little thing.
That's amazing.
That is her.
That's crazy. I had no idea, but now that you say it, yeah, wow, that's great.
Yeah, I'm glad she had that little role in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, because an actor's not really an actor until they've been in a Marvel movie.
Exactly. I discount everyone until they've been in a Marvel movie.
Right.
Yeah. That's the only reason I still like this movie, is because there's been at least one actor in a Marvel film.
Well, and did Max Landis write that Fantastic Four movie? I don't remember.
I don't believe he did.
No, it was Josh Trank because he did Chronicle. That's right. Never mind.
So yeah, anything else?
No, I don't think so. Just that I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I would watch this again for sure.
Awesome. What do you? It's weird that you and I are talking about a werewolf movie and have not yet brought up Matt Brassfield.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I thought of him while I was watching this. Just it was mostly during the initial werewolf attack where it
Sure.
looked it looks a little Matt Brassfield-esque.
All right, I buy that.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He's noted werewolf aficionado.
Yes. Very, very. I was going to say very good friend to both of us, but friend to both of us.
Yeah.
So this movie and The Howling came out in 1981. When was Matt Brassfield born? I know he's younger than me and older than you.
Yeah. So when were you born?
78.
Okay, and I was born in '83, so it's entirely possible that he was born in 1981.
The part of the werewolf-essence.
What if he was born at the exact midpoint between the two movies?
Ooh. Well, we'll have to ask him about that.
Yes, we will.
Not today, though.
Just randomly text him.
Yeah, I might. Not on air, though.
Okay, well, I mean, at least report back.
Okay,
Let us know what you find.
I will. So I guess this is the part of the show where I get to pick a movie to watch.
I think so, yeah. Do you have any thoughts?
I do. Of course, it depends on one main thing from you.
Okay.
I'm assuming, because I recall you posting some stuff here and there about watching The Mandalorian, that you have Disney Plus.
I do have Disney Plus.
Okay, excellent. As do I. And when I was trying to think of what movie I should pick for the next episode, I was like, man, I've got Disney Plus. Once The Mandalorian ended, I have not used it.
Yeah, I think you and probably 90% of the population.
Yeah. Like, I've watched random episodes of the 1980s Spider-Man cartoon.
Okay.
But, yeah, I haven't really explored much of what it's on there. And there is a movie that is on there that I have not seen since it came out in theaters back in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
And I would like to see if you would like to watch it with me.
Okay.
It is called The Black Cauldron.
Okay. I've never seen that.
All right. I literally remember nothing about it. Just that it's a cartoon and it's on Disney Plus.
Okay, is there a little blonde boy? Is he in that?
Sure.
Or am I thinking of The Sword and the Stone? I don't know.
There's similarities between them both.
Okay. Is it in the same universe?
It's in the Stoneverse.
Okay. Some people call that Arthurian legend.
Whatever.
But I prefer Stoneverse. The SCU, the Stone Cinematic Universe. Well, yeah, no, I'd totally be down to watch The Black Cauldron.
All right, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and figure out when we're going to do that off the air.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming back, hopefully. And thank you, Joe, for helping me figure out how to do this with you again.
Thank you, Eric, for spurring this on. I'm glad we did this.
Me too. All righty.
We'll do it again, for sure.
Exactly. We'll see you next time.
All right, see you then.
Bye.